What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. It's the Wager Alarm Friday Night Ticket. That's right. I'm your host, Howard Bender. With me, of course, Craig Mish. Time to start putting in those picks for the Golden Nugget Ultimate Football Challenge and the Westgate Super Contest. Craig, how are you? How's the week been? Any lines moving that you're finding a little crazy, a little out of the ordinary?
A couple in the NFL and a little bit in college this time of the year. The thing is not to look for with a lot of line movement unless players are out. But the other part of it, as you know, Howard, is that it's really time for people who wager starting now to start taking a look at the weather each week, because it's going to be a factor everywhere virtually in the country where there's not a dome. And so you have to start paying attention to those things, both in the NFL and in college football. And I know where I live in Florida, we're actually expected to dip below like 80 degrees for the first time in 7 months. So not that factors in at all to our gameplay, but you could see that you'll start to see some totals in the NFL and college start coming down. And then obviously, injuries are a big part of this as well, but particularly in college football, I think that especially a couple of the lines that I've noticed is that teams are not rushing back in college some of their injured players at this point, because they realize it's toward the end of the season. And for those teams, whether they're headed to a just standard bowl game or not, it really doesn't matter. The future of these kids are going to be in play. And if you thought that you saw last year a bunch of kids sitting out bowl games, you have no idea what we're in store for this year. Not only are they going to sit out bowl games, but I think in a couple of weeks, right around Thanksgiving, we'll start looking at teams that just aren't going to be playing a lot of their starting players. So one of the games in particular in college this week, significant injury, which is why we're siding against them, and we'll get to that. And then, of course, in the NFL, it's just kind of been a wide ride here for, a couple of teams as well.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, well, let's get to our picks here. Let's get everybody underway. Let's start off with the Golden Nugget. We'll start off in the college ranks. Shout out to Monkey Knife Fight, our sponsor. Thanks, guys. FantasyAlarm.com/monkey. Get you all those prop pick games that everybody knows and loves, and jump in on that. So FantasyAlarm.com/monkey gets you in there. So now let's get to it here. Start off first pick that we're talking about that we're doing here. Wyoming.
Sure.
5.5 point underdog to Utah State. Talk to me. Wyoming on the road.
Sure. Yeah, Wyoming opened up as a 7-point underdog, and this quickly went down to about 5.5, went back to 6. 24 hours ago was at 4.5, and now I'm seeing some 5, 5.5, and 6. Utah State, Howard, has a first-round pick in their quarterback in Jordan Love, but he could be one of the most disappointing quarterbacks statistically this season in college football. What Love is going to have to do is, after this season, he is going to have a great combine to really improve his stock, because his numbers really haven't been all that good. Right now, Wyoming is in position to have one of their better seasons over the last decade. They have 6 wins. Utah State has 5. Utah State can throw the ball. Love can throw the ball. They run this up-tempo offense, but they have a really hard time stopping anybody on defense. And Wyoming has been virtually in every single game that they've played this year. It's always down to that final possession. So even though they're on the road, I really don't trust what I've seen from Utah State. It's been a disappointing season for them. A lot of people thought, and their Vegas total, I believe, was 7.5 or 8. They're probably going to go under that. Not really playing for much here toward the end of the season. They had much higher expectations. So I think Wyoming gets the job done here. Their quarterback has really come on over the last couple of weeks also. Expect a higher scoring type game. I think Wyoming can win this game outright. I see it in the 50s, like 27-24 Wyoming.
Right on. All right. Next game, we're looking at Texas. They're getting 7 points, heading over to Iowa State. They're 2 teams that we've definitely dabbled in.
Texas, a lot. Texas, almost every week, I feel like, right?
Really?
A lot. We've used Texas and gone against Texas.
We've definitely used them a lot. We've definitely used them a lot. And then, we used Iowa State, or I think went against Iowa State a couple weeks ago. But tell me what you're seeing in this one.
Yeah, Texas is pretty simple. Tom Herman, the head coach of Texas, is an underdog, has the best record in all of college football as a dog, and a horrible record as a favorite. And in this particular case, Texas is an underdog. I watched that game very closely against Kansas State last week. Texas does not have any problem moving the ball offensively. Their problem has been defense over the last few weeks. They had a hard time stopping Kansas State. They had a hard time stopping Kansas, but they're getting back their safety and linebacker for this game, so that should really help, starting safety and linebacker in this one. Last year, Texas was a huge favorite over Iowa State. Disappointing result there. I mean, now Texas is a 7-point underdog. Iowa State shouldn't be 7-point favorites over anybody at this point. They played much better early on in the season. And now at this point, I think that getting 7 points is too much. The line's actually 6.5 in a lot of places. So we'll take Texas in this one. And simply put, well, this is a great trend in college football, especially with Tom Herman being an underdog and covering almost 80% of the time. So we're going to take those 7 points, and we're going to take the Longhorns this week.
All right, beautiful. Beautiful. Next game that we're looking at, Baylor, 10-point underdog to Oklahoma. We are actually, I looked it up, we are 2-0 when betting on Baylor games. We took them 1 week, we faded them the other week, and here we are with Baylor again. Now we're taking them with the 10. You like this against Oklahoma, huh?
This is a big spot. This is like the Minnesota spot from last week. Baylor is undefeated. They're 9-0 this season. This is going back to when Robert Griffin III was the quarterback at Baylor, was their really last chance to play in a significant bowl game. They had all kinds of sanctions and problems with their head coach, Art Briles, who ended up leaving. Matt Rule comes in from Temple. He takes over. I talked about him. He may not be coach of the year. P.J. Fleck from Minnesota may end up being coach of the year because, simply put, they're in the top 10 now. But Baylor getting no respect, not in the top 10, as a 9-0 team in the same conference as Oklahoma. It'll be the rowdiest crowd in the history of Waco. But meanwhile, that line has moved up. It is 10.5 in a lot of spots now and not 10 anymore. We know that Oklahoma doesn't play defense. They can come back and beat you in any game. They showed that a few weeks ago, even when they lost to Kansas State. But I just think that laying 10 points on the road in that environment is too much. Even if Baylor loses, I think they keep this game close. This goes right back to where we were last week. Undefeated at home. You close your eyes and picture the end of the game. Baylor wins, rushing the field, all that kind of thing. This is a huge, huge game for this school. And so I don't think they get blown out in this one, Howard. I really don't. They've been underdogs in a lot of big games and have won outright and covered in a lot of them. They're one of the best teams in all of college football against the spread. So I just think this is too many points, and I want to take Baylor in the spot. I like the points. 10's a lot at home.
10 is a lot. 10 is a lot. Listen, I'm fine with it. I had no problem with it. Like when we end up taking Baylor, you seem to have a pretty good beat on these guys with the way they're playing.
It's going to be a scary game. Oklahoma could go up 21-10. I mean, they could go up 28-10. Oklahoma can score. Jalen Hurts is a fantastic quarterback. He's come over from Alabama. He's done everything that Oklahoma's asked. But they still don't play defense there. For whatever reason, they still don't play defense. And again, it could be a little scary. Could be 10-0 early, 13-0, 17-0. Those are all possibilities. But provided that they let that back door open, just like they did against Kansas State will take it and run with it. So I want to take the points.
Listen, I'm totally with you. I've seen teams with a 35-3 lead at halftime end up losing the game.
Florida State.
I have no problem with that at all. So Baylor plus 10. Now we're laying 10. Here we go. Memphis on the road in Houston. Listen, I like Memphis. I like the game that they play. This is more, though. This is about Houston just really packing it in. They just had another big injury to one of their cornerbacks. He's going to be out. This team is done. This team looks cooked. They look
2 years in a row.
Yeah, this was bad. Listen, we knew it was bad when Derek King said I'm sitting out. I'm sitting out the rest of this.
They actually rallied and played well for a couple weeks, but now they've lost 3 games in a row, and it looks like they're headed toward nothing. So, look, Memphis still has their eyes on a pretty significant bowl game play here, and they're going to score in bunches too. This is the same kind of scenario here, except for Houston's not playing for anything at this point. They could lose 51-0, and it won't matter. Look, Houston's going to score a little bit in the game. Memphis's defense is not great, but I could see what's the total in this one? I don't even know. It's probably like 70 or 80. There's going to be 1 million points scored in this game. It's just a matter of how many Memphis scores.
Oh, 1 million? The line's at 1 million? I'm going to take the under on that. That seems excessive.
I don't know, Howard. It seems a little high.
Seems a little excessive. Last game, and this is actually supposed to be the first game because it's the first game on the sheet here, but I forgot about it. But we are laying 4 points with Louisville. Now, here's a team that's been up and down throughout this entire season.
They have, but they've been good for us, with the exception of last week.
Yeah, they were not good for us.
They were terrible last week, but here's the thing. North Carolina State is now down to their 3rd quarterback this season. Look, North Carolina State is a very good school. They have very competitive years. They're being outscored by like 30, 40 points every single week. They've just been thrashed by bad teams in the ACC. This is probably my favorite pick on the board here, man. I think that Louisville's going to crush NC State. They're playing for nothing. So I'm gonna. I look. Last week, Miami came to play. They showed up. It's a rarity for them this year, but they did. But Louisville outgained Miami, by the way, in stats. They outgained them and lost by 30. So turnovers, it's that's what it's going to be about. Louisville just can't turn the ball over. They do. We'll have a problem.
All right. So there you go. Those are our 5 college picks. We're doing 5 college, 2 pro. Sum it up: Louisville -4, Wyoming -5.5, Texas +7, Baylor +10, Memphis -10.
Right.
For our pro picks, here we go. Cardinals. We're starting off right here. Home dog, 11.5 points in the Golden Nugget. It's 11 points in the Super Contest. But I got to tell you, I think a lot of people. I get that San Francisco is a good team, and I'm not going to sit there and let their loss to Seattle deter me on anything. I think that San Francisco can win this game. What I think a lot of people are underestimating is that Joe Staley is out again. That's the
big one.
That's the blind side to Jimmy Garoppolo. If there's one strength that Arizona does have on defense, I mean, aside from Patrick Peterson, it's their defensive line. So I think if they can get into the backfield a little bit more, you're also dealing with weapons who are out for San Francisco. There's not going to be, George Kittle's doubtful. I don't think he sees the field. Emmanuel Sanders is likely out for this game as well. Matt Breida is definitely out for this game. Raheem Mostert's dealing with a knee injury.
Wow. Yeah.
So there's a lot of problems going on here for San Francisco. I still think they can pull this one out, but there's no way that they're laying 2 scores in this game. And,
Yeah, there's some people who feel that the 49ers will take their revenge out from that Seattle game on Arizona. Look, I thought I saw enough from the Cardinals the last time these two teams played for them to keep it close. And I understand that there were really 2 key plays in that game that got them the cover. Isabella had an 88-yard touchdown, and then they had a 2-point conversion. But Arizona, it seems like the 49ers, to me, Howard, they're getting off to good starts against teams, but they haven't been able to close anybody out. And I still think in the end, the 49ers are going to be 13-3, 12-4, 14-2. I still think they're going to get home field. I still think they're going to be a significant favorite over some team in the first round, but I would guess they're going to get upset at some point in the playoffs. They look like a really good team. Wouldn't shock me if they won that first game and in the playoffs and won by a lot, but they're going to get upset, I think. They just can't close teams out. They've had a problem doing that all year long. They're letting teams kind of come back into the game now. And I think that you mentioned that some of those injuries are very key. And I just think that this team is not the same with Kittle either. And Kittle, Emmanuel Sanders, Breida, Breida's a good running back, but, those guys come and go. But, yeah, taking the points like that. And 11, by the way, for those of you who do this and you participate in contests and wagering, 11's not really a key number. Sometimes games do land on 11, but it is very rare. You're looking at 4s, 3s, 6, 10, 14, 17. So I don't really mind an 11 or 11.5. I don't think that it would come down to that. So I like the way Arizona, by the way, they played last week against Tampa very well. They should have won that game. Murray threw an interception very late, very bad pass that he threw, where all they really needed was a field goal to tie the game. He threw a ball that was picked off by that guy, that defensive back on Tampa that's been getting burned all year long, 35 or 25, whatever his name is. So, so we'll take the points here. And look, can Arizona win the game? Sure. Probably unlikely, but it does seem like too many points.
Yeah, definitely too many points to make. Next one here is a game that actually you proposed, and I said, listen, I'm totally fine with it because this is beyond the toilet bowl. This is Jets Redskins, and we're going to take the Jets on the road.
On the Jets, yeah,
with the points. Talk to me.
Yeah. Look, I mean, for me, when I look at this thing, where is the quarterback advantage? It's definitely on the Jets.
Definitely on the Jets.
The offensive line advantage is also on the Jets. With Trent Williams there, it's a different story. The running back advantage, I don't care that Geis is back. It's definitely on the Jets. The receiver advantage, McLaurin's a good receiver, but I like the Jets receivers better too. Defensively, Washington has the advantage. I get it. Washington has the advantage, probably defensively. But I really think that this is a low-scoring game that Darnold to Crowder should be enough to get it done. And I don't get why Washington is a favorite in this game. That's why it scares me a little bit. I don't think the points are going to factor into this thing. I really don't. But Washington is not playing to win. The Jets just said that their coach is going to be back next year. So obviously they're still going to try, I think. And I mean, not a lot really to this, except for it's just one of those, I think the wrong team is favored in this one. I think I would have thought that on Sunday morning we'd be looking at this and the Jets would be 1-point favorites, but the line has actually moved up to Washington -2. So needless to say, I hate wagering on these kind of games, but this stuck out at me as a game that I just think that the Jets are a better team. And not much better, but they're better. I mean,
no, they're not much better, but they are definitely better. And there are a couple of key points there. Darius Geis doesn't matter. Him, Adrian Peterson in some sort of rotation. Jets are giving up fewer than 90 yards per game on the ground. 3 yards per carry average against them. So their ground game. Listen, they've stopped Saquon Barkley. They've stopped Ezekiel Elliott. So am I worried about Geis? No. The problem is that, what I think the key is for the Jets, obviously, is their pass rush. They're going to need to get some guys into that backfield and just rattle Haskins a little bit, because you're right. McLaurin is a good, solid guy, but they really don't have anybody else. On the Jets side, you said Jamison Crowder. Listen, who doesn't? I love a revenge game narrative.
Of course.
Always.
But think about this for a minute. If you want to consider Miami and Washington more or less the same team, okay? Mm-hmm. Washington, when they played Miami, it went right down to the final play of the game, right? Everybody remembers that 2-point conversion failed. I don't think you could say that Washington was better than Miami, but the Jets were 3-point favorites or 4-point at Miami, right? And now they're underdogs at Washington, more or less the same game, same team. Well, what has changed?
Because they got the crap slapped out of them over on.
But that shouldn't
by
Miami. You can't look at the past and predicate the future in the NFL. It's not possible. It just doesn't work like that.
But see, here's the thing, though. You're talking about a team that, when they went down to Miami, the team was already sitting there at the trade deadline. They tried to trade Jamal Adams. They tried to trade Bell. They tried to trade. Who was the other guy? There was another guy that they were trying to deal. They had just dealt Leonard Williams. So automatically, the Jets are sitting there and they're just getting rid of players. And they're saying that, listen, this is just, we're trying to fire sale right now. Oh, it didn't work. All right, well, you guys come with us. Now the Jets traveling down to Miami without caring at that point. That's one thing. The fact that Gase is going to stay, I don't know. I don't know how much, like when you talk about a team.
No, I don't know that that's a huge factor. I mean, I could say it's the opposite, maybe. If they don't want to play for him, then they quit and then they would lose to Washington. That would really be a strong indictment against him. But what have the Redskins shown in any game this season outside of the first game of the year? The whole season. The whole year. The Jets played well against the Giants. The Jets played well against Dallas, at least in like 2 games. The Redskins in the first game of the year played very close with Keenum against Philadelphia, and that's it. I mean, Buffalo, a bad team, they couldn't do anything against them either. So it's just one of those games where it just looks bad on paper. But we'll side with that terrible team.
Well, there you go. That's what we're doing. We're taking the Jets. After all of that, we're just brimming with confidence on the Jets game here. But listen, that's Cardinals and Jets. We're taking them in the Golden Nugget with our 5 picks for college. Moving over to the Super Contest, we are carrying the Jets and the Cardinals. Jets are only +1 in this game against them in the Super Contest. Cardinals are +11.
Mm-hmm.
So. Again, a half point there it's not spooking me too much.
No, and worst case would be a push on the 1 point with the Jets, too.
Yeah. So let's hit the other games that we were talking about, and that means the scary pick. Well, let's go with what was the pick that you feel the most confident in?
Atlanta.
Really? Talk to me here. Because
I think
you hated us taking Atlanta in the past.
I know, but they seem to have really rallied for whatever reason last week. I mean, I don't think it was first of all, it was a big fluke that they went in and won. It was the first time in like 20 years a team that was that big a favorite lost by that many points at home. It's like the first time. And so I'm not going to say that Atlanta's a good team. I'm not trying to portray that. But I think they have a really good chance of keeping this game close with Carolina. The Panthers really don't blow anyone out. I mean, they put a 30 spot on Tennessee a couple of weeks ago. Tennessee was driving down the ball at the end to cover. So, I mean, Atlanta, statistically wise, offensively, is not at the bottom anywhere. Defensively, of course, that's where they've had their struggles for sure. And no doubt they will probably struggle to cover Christian McCaffrey. But I think they still have enough offensive weapons in Jones. And look, this new kid who's going to play, Brian Hill, he's got some explosiveness. I've talked about him for a couple of weeks. I think that he has an opportunity to do some good things. He's very fast. They could throw him out of the back, throw him into the backfield and throw passes to him as well. I don't see how Kyle Allen in any game could be 6 or 7 point favorites. I think it's 5.5 though in this. Is that right?
Yeah, it's 5.5. And listen, again, you were talking about monitoring the weather. I got a report that says that there's a nor'easter working its way to the eastern seaboard, and that would actually, that would favor us, I think.
Yeah, total has gone down significantly.
So give me some crappy weather, and the Falcons with the points. That would probably stay nice and close. I'm in on that one there.
Yeah,
so
by the way, last 5 meetings, Atlanta, Carolina. Not that 2016 means anything, but I'll go back that far just for context. And these are all with Matt Ryan. 24-10 Atlanta wins last year. 31-24 Atlanta wins last year. 22-10 2017. The previous one, Atlanta loses by 3. And then in 2016, Atlanta wins 33-16. So their last 5 meetings, Atlanta has won and covered. And in their lone loss, they covered as well. 5-0, straight up, and against the spread in their last 5 meetings.
There you go. All right. Falcons it is.
Falcons it is.
So
never thought I'd say that. Falcons it is. Jets it is. 2 weeks ago, I would have said, yeah, we're going to take the Falcons.
Right, yeah, we're taking the Falcons and the Jets. Like, we might as well take Minnesota just for the trifecta.
We have look, the underdogs are still covering at an incredible rate every week in the NFL. You got to stick with it. You can't go away from it. You start laying these points, it ain't happening. Look at every game virtually in the NFL. They're all the dogs. This is happening every single week.
Well, Falcons, Jets, Cardinals, all dogs. Here we go. Our one cover, which, I'm giving away our last pick there. That is a dog, but our one favorite here.
Favorite, right.
Got to go Patriots. Laying 3.5 over the Eagles. Listen, Patriots are 14-5 under Belichick, coming off the bye.
And there you go. You don't need to say anything else.
Okay. There you go.
14-5.
14-5 coming off the bye under Belichick.
That's ridiculous. That is a ridiculous statistic. You're hitting those kind of numbers against the spread. You know how much money you are making? I mean, that's just, it goes without saying. He's phenomenal, Belichick, at preparing and having 2 weeks to prepare. I think that you're going to start to see Sanu more part of the game plan here, and then working in some of the other options and some of the other wide receivers.
The dude
I know he had a good week last
targets.
Week. We're getting a good line. This line's 4. It's going up. So I think it'll be a high scoring game, but I do think that New England basically. Their only issue at all is the kicker, right? Like that's the only thing that could stop us in this game, I think, is that they get into a situation where a kicker misses a field goal or two. I got to tell you, that's the reason why I can't take the Colts anymore. I mean, really. I mean,
oh yeah, Vinatieri.
You can't do it. I mean, if you're taking the Colts in a 1, 2, or 3 point game, and the Colts are really the team to take this week because they're playing Jacksonville coming off the London, and the last 6 teams that have come off the London and then the bye have not covered. But I can't do it. I mean, he's missing everything, and it's a short spread with 3. And so what happens? Game goes overtime. Vinatieri kicks a field goal. He misses a field goal. Jacksonville kicks it. We come back here and go, what? I mean, we have to be idiots to do it. So we're idiots anyway.
All right, so we'll stick with the Pats, lay the 3.5, and then finally we're going to the Monday Night Football. We're going to Mexico City. Viva los Chargers. Taking the Chargers, getting the 3.5 points. Listen, Kansas City's defense, it's a problem. It's a problem.
Highest total on the board this week, 52.5.
And I think this is a game where we see a lot of Melvin Gordon. A lot. Like
they've been using him a lot more. That's the biggest change that I've seen from them.
Yeah, well, once they fired Ken Wisenhunt, their offensive coordinator, they promoted the guy who was the quarterback's coach. He's been, just let's give the ball to Gordon. Gordon's been seeing at least 20 touches, and that's really what's happening. You're looking at Kansas City, who has literally the worst run defense in the NFL right now. So Gordon, Eckler, you know that the Chargers. I'm surprised that it's that high of a point total. I would guess not really because it's.
Because Kansas City can score, but they're dragging you. They're dragging you to Kansas City. The Chargers is the right pick. I'm using this one everywhere too. I like this one as well. Going over the Chargers' losses this season, and again, they can lose. You look as a favorite. You do not take the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you never do. I don't care who they're. You don't take them. As a dog, you would start investigating. At the Lions, 1 possession loss. 13-10. Versus the Texans, 1 possession loss, 27-10. Versus the Broncos, 1 possession loss, 20-13. Versus the Steelers, 1 possession loss, 24-17. At the Titans, 1 possession loss, 23-20. Last week against the Raiders, as everybody remembers, Rivers throwing 50 times on the sides, not over the field with a minute to go. All they needed was a field goal. 1 possession loss, 26-24. Against the Bears in a win, 17-16. They have played 10 games. 7 of them have been 1 possession or less for the Chargers. You know they're going to be in the game late, and you know that they're probably going to find a way to screw it up. But we're getting the extra half point.
Right, I'll take the hook.
I would not take the Chargers at 2. I would not do it. It would not be enough for me. But I just give me that 3 at the end of the game, and in all likelihood, I think that's probably what you're going to see. I think the Chiefs are going to win this one like 38-35. Rivers will be mad. The game will be over, and we'll be happy. They'll cover the 3.5 points. So I love this team as a dog. I really do. They always show up. But as a favorite, they're the worst. They get crushed. They never cover. Never.
Well, all right. Well, listen, we're going back to what we know. And like we talk about the fact that we don't worry about it in college too much as far as who the favorite is.
No, we can't do that.
But for our 5 pro games that we've picked, we got 4 dogs. We got 1 favorite. And I'm pretty confident in each one of these picks, no doubt about it.
Yeah, let's just real quick look at the others, just for the heck of it. Some of the other ones that we were potentially deciding on. Let me go here too. I'm going way. Okay, Houston, Baltimore. Again, Houston's coming off that Jacksonville or that London situation. A lot of people are on Houston this week. They think that they could cover and win against Baltimore. They're expecting a letdown spot. But I don't know. To go against Baltimore at this point, I don't think is wise. Dallas Howard is 7-point favorites over Detroit. Dallas burned me so bad last week. I mean, I think Driscoll played well enough to probably keep this close, but I don't have a strong opinion there. Any opinion for you on that one?
Yeah, I like Dallas in that one, but
you do? All right.
Yeah.
Jaguars at the Colts. Colts are now down to 2.5. Buffalo is up to 6.5 now at Miami. So I guess they're expecting eventually some team is going to start blowing out the Dolphins, who have covered virtually every first half this season. One that I've talked about a lot on my other show, Minnesota, a 10.5-point favorite against Denver, and the total is only 40. So Denver has dictated pace in every football game they've played this season. If they dictate pace here, don't they cover? No?
If they dictate pace here, they do cover. And listen, I think that they do cover no matter what. I like Denver. And believe it or not, I kind of like the under on this game. Vic Fangio knows Minnesota. He knows Mike Zimmer. He knows Kevin Stefanski. He knows what they're doing as far as the ground game goes. Denver's got a rock-solid ground game. Denver's going to have Chris Harris shadowing Stephon Diggs this entire time. This is a game that, now that when I look more and more at it, it definitely tilts me towards Denver. I don't ever want to take them.
It's a lot of points, yeah.
But yeah, it is. See, and that's the thing, is that it is too many points. And we've seen Minnesota play too many close games.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. Raiders are huge favorites over Cincy. I don't want to mess with that. I will tell you this. If I had to add an extra pick, it would be the Bears. How do the Rams get to be 6.5-point favorites over anybody in the NFL? Honestly. I think the Bears could win this game for sure. Like, this smells like 17-14. What happened to the Rams, man? The offensive line is that bad that they can't score anything at all? Like
I told you exactly what it is. I told you the problem with the Rams weeks ago. Jared Goff cannot read a defense. He can't read a defense. So when Sean,
how's he going to do in this game?
He's going to be crappy. He's going to be crappy again. There's no doubt about it. I have no doubt in my mind. Listen, in the fantasy world, I've been telling people,
so it's all that countdown?
Stay off of Goff. Stay off of Goff, because once they shut the helmet off and he can't hear McVay relaying, what the possible defensive schemes are, like as soon as that shuts off, that's when teams are starting to move around their guys on defense. They're making it happen, and Goff doesn't know what they're doing.
Why doesn't McVay then, in that case, right as soon as they snap the ball, just get a garbage can and start banging on the garbage can for the different plays? Run is one, pass is two.
Well played, sir.
That's all I got. I'll see you on the way out. I'm done.
Thank you so much. Right? You said I was wearing a Yankee shirt here underneath, and you had to rub that in, that we were robbed of.
We'll leave you with that note.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to get Matt Sells, our producer, all riled up, because that'll get even uglier.
That is
even uglier.
That is true.
So that is going to do it for us. Sum it up here: Golden Nugget, Louisville, Wyoming, Texas, Baylor, Memphis, taking the Arizona Cardinals and the Jets in the Super Contest. Arizona Cardinals and the Jets again. Falcons, Patriots, Chargers. Book it, baby. Big week needed for me and Craig here.
Yeah, we do.
I think we're going to get it. And there you go. That's going to do it for us at the Wager Alarm live stream. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. We'll catch you next time.